Hello, hello, hello. We are back with Chapter 8, Geometric Figures, Lesson 2, Classifying Angles. And so with problems 1, 2, and 3, we're going to tell whether each angle is acute, right, obtuse, or straight. So I want you to go ahead and do problems number 1, 2, 3 on your own. So go ahead and press pause. When you get done, press play, and we'll go through the answers. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and look at 1. Now, problem number 1 is actually less than a 90-degree angle, so that means that this is an acute angle. All right, so if you got that one right, great job. Number 2, if we had a right angle, it would be about here, and this angle is bigger than a right angle, so that means that it would be an obtuse angle. And number 3 has this little mark right there, which means it is a right angle and it's 90 degrees. So number 3 is a right angle. So if you got all 3 of those right, great job. Let's go ahead and move on to problem 4 and 5. And so what we're going to do with problem 4, well, let's just look at problem 4. It just states to add the measures of angle UZV and angle TZU. So I want you to go ahead and do problem 4 only. So go ahead and press pause, work on problem 4. When you get done, press play. Okay, see you in a bit. All right, we're back. Let's go ahead and figure out what the measures are for angle UZV. So remember, when we're talking about the measure of an angle, we use the M. The measure of the angle, UZV, and then we're going to add them, right? So just plus measure of the angle TZU. So first, let's go ahead and figure out what is the measure of UZV. So what I'm going to do is just zoom in as tight as I can to find the first one, which is UZV. So UZV would be UZV. And what's really nice about this one is it's on 0. And so it goes 0, 10. So we know that we're going to be using this inner group of numbers. So UZV would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that means that the measure of angle UZV equals 60 degrees. Okay, now we need to find TZU. TZU. So TZU is right there. TZU. So I'm just going to see, I'm going to start here. That looks like it's on 10, 20, 40, 50, 60. So I'm going to start here and then just count by tens. 10, 20, and T looks like it's halfway between 80 and 90, so that means it's 5. So that's going to make it 10, 25. So TZU is equal, measure of angle TZU is equal to 25 degrees. I'm going to zoom back out. So it's just asking us to add these measures. So I'm going to input the value. So the measure of UZV is 60 degrees, so it's going to be 60 degrees plus the measure of angle TZU, which is 25 degrees. And if we add those two numbers together, we have 60 plus 25. 0 plus 5 is 5. 6 plus 2 is 8. We have 85 degrees. Okay, so if you got that one right, great job. Okay, let's look at problem 5. Problem 5 says, are angle UZV and TZU complementary, supplementary, or neither? Okay, well, those are the same, right? UZV, UZV, TZU, TZU. So we've already added them together and got 85 degrees. So that means that they are neither. They're neither. Okay. All right, perfect. Let's go on to the back page here. So we are supposed to use the diagram. We're going to add the measures of angle QZR and RZS and then find out if they're complementary, supplementary, or neither for problem 6 and 7. So I want you to go ahead and work on problems 6 and 7 on your own. Okay, so go ahead and press pause. Work on 6 and 7. When you get done with problems 6 and 7, go ahead and press play and we'll go over the results. All right, we are back. So this problem wants us to add these two angle measures. So that means we're going to be adding the measure of QZR plus the measure of angle RZS. So QZR, RZS, perfect. So we have to go ahead and define what those are first. So angle QZR, what does that equal? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in as tight as we can go. QZR. Okay, so QZR is right here, and that's nice because it ends, QZR ends on the 0 here. So for these, this is 0 and then 10, so we're going to use these outer numbers to count and see how many degrees this angle is. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So that means that QZR is 50 degrees. So I'm just going to write that right here. The measure of angle QZR is 50 degrees. And now I'm going to determine the measure of angle RZS. So let's go ahead and find RZS. RZS, right there. So RZS, it looks like it starts right here. That might be 50, and it goes all the way to there. So we're just going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. Do you see that? From here to here is 10. We're counting by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. So that means that RZS is equal to 40 degrees. Perfect. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Now we're just going to substitute those values in. So the measure of QZR is 50 degrees plus the measure of RZS is 40 degrees. And when we add those two numbers together, we get 90 degrees. So if you got 90, great job. Let's go ahead and go to problem 7. It says R angle QZR, which is that, and angle RZS, complementary, supplementary, or neither. So since they add up to 90, that means they're complementary. Okay, so if you got that one right, wonderful job. Okay, let's look at problem 8. Problem 8 asks if angle QZS and VZS are complementary, supplementary, or neither. So we need to go ahead and figure out what those angle measures are. So since this is a little far away, I'm just going to write it over here. So the measure of angle... Oh, I want you to do this one on your own. Okay, go ahead and press pause. Press pause, work on problem 8. When you get done with 8, then press play and we'll go over the answer. All right, we're back. Let's see how you did on problem 8. I'm going to go ahead and write the measure of angle QZS right here and the measure of angle VZS right here. So when I zoom in, I can still have the angles of what I'm trying to determine. Okay, cool. So the first one we need to find is QZS. QZS. So let's go ahead and count by tens. 10, 20. It's nice that it's on 0. I'm going to use these outer numbers on the outside of the protractor. 0, okay, so that's 0. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. That's where S is. So that means that QZS is 90 degrees. Okay. And now we're going to determine the measure of angle VZS. So V is here, Z, S. Okay, so that's nice. This is on 0. So when the 0 is on this side, we're going to use the inner numbers to count. We're going to go all the way right here to where S is. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. All right, so that one is 90 as well. So to determine, I'm going to zoom out now that we know what those angle measures are. Okay, we need to determine what is the measure of angle QZS plus the measure of angle VZS, and QZS equals 90 degrees, so I'm going to substitute 90, plus VZS is 90. And when we add those two numbers, 90 plus 90, 0 plus 0, 0, 9 plus 9 is 18. Those equal 180 degrees. So that means if two angles add up to 180, they are supplementary angles. So we're going to say angle QZS and angle VZS are supplementary angles. So if you got that one right, great job. Make sure that you're writing, you're using symbols, you're showing your work, all those wonderful things. If you're not, you need to go ahead and do that now. Okay? Now let's go to problem 9. Problem 9 states that angles G and H are supplementary. If the measure of angle G is 80 degrees, what is the measure of angle H? Okay, so I want you to go ahead. This has an equation, all right? So it's really important that you write that equation. One of those sentences has an equation. So write that equation, define your variables, plug it in, and solve. So go ahead and pause. I want you to work on problem number 9. When you get done with 9, press play and we'll talk about it. Okay, we are back. Let's see how you did. Looking at problem 9, the equation is right here. Angles G and H are supplementary. That means that you can write the equation, the measure of angle G plus the measure of angle H equals 180 degrees. The second piece of information they tell us is that measure of angle G is equal to 80 degrees. So I'm going to define that right here. Measure of angle G means equals 80 degrees, okay? And then we're going to substitute that value in right here for the measure of angle G. So we have 80 plus the measure of angle H equals 180. So we're trying to determine the measure of angle H. So just pretend like this is a variable. This is an x. We need to get x by itself. We need to get the measure of angle H by itself so we can determine what is the measure of angle H. So we're just going to use our algebra skills. We need to get rid of this 80. The 80 is related to the measure of angle H through addition, so we need to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're going to subtract 80 to both sides. 80 minus 80, that cancels out and becomes 0. Then we're left with the measure of angle H equals 180 minus 80 is going to be 0, 0, 100. 100 degrees. So if you got that right, great job. Okay, on to problem 10. It says angles M and N are complementary. If the measure of angle M is 20 degrees, what is the measure of angle N? This problem is very similar to this one. So make sure that you use this as a guide, okay? It's a little different, okay? But you're going to go through the same process. So you need to have all that work shown right here for problem 10. So go ahead, pause, work out problem 10. When you get done, press play and we'll go over the answer. All right, see you in a bit. See you in a bit. All right, we are back. So our equation, the information for the equation is right here. Angles of measure M and M are complementary. What that means is that the measure of angle M plus the measure of angle N equals, angles that are complementary means they add up to 90 degrees, okay? The other little tidbit they give us is that the measure of angle M is 20 degrees, okay? So we're going to define that variable. Measure of angle M equals, that's what is means, 20 degrees. And then we're going to substitute that in for the measure of angle M right there. So instead of writing the measure of angle M, we're going to write 20 plus the measure of angle N equals 90. There's our equation. We need to determine what is the measure of angle N. To do that, we just need to get it by itself. So is it by itself on this side of the equation? No, there's a 20. How is the 20 related to the measure of angle N? Through addition. So we need to do the inverse operation, which would be to subtract 20 to both sides. Those cancel out and become 0. And what we're left with is that the measure of angle N is equal to 9 take away 7, 2 is 7, 70 degrees. So if you got that one right, you did a wonderful job, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.